This is Tank's Vlog for February 18th, 2019. We're wrapping up today in sports, brought to you by Allow Me to Be Frank, the weekly podcast. It's on SoundCloud and iTunes. We'll be broadcasting again soon, so subscribe so you'll be the first to know when we do new shows. It was the NBA All-Star game on Sunday. It was Team LeBron with the players he's going to probably try to surround himself with in LA next year, including Kevin Durant, going against Team Giannis Antetokounmpo. And for most of the game, it was Team Giannis, and as they raced out to a 20-point lead, but somewhere in the third quarter, the game completely and utterly changed. Kevin Durant took over. Kevin Durant had a monster third quarter and fourth quarters as Team LeBron came back and won 178-164, outscoring Team Giannis in the second half 96-69. Kevin Durant took home MVP honors, well deserved, showing that maybe he right now is the best player in the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I believe has been the MVP so far this year, also had a big day with 38 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, but his team wilted down the stretch. D'Angelo Russell, the Nets' only player, played 12 minutes in the game, got 6 points. That was about the only local interest for those in the New York area. And now we get ready for the stretch drive for the playoffs. And the stretch drive of LeBron trying to take every player from every team to create a super team. Which, by the way, he said was wrong when he was in Cleveland. But started the whole super team thing because, you know, LeBron James is a gigantic hypocrite. So there you have it. Team LeBron beat Team Giannis 178-164. You know, here's how you make this format work better in the NBA. You do the choosing before the game. You call out the two captains. You have all the All-Stars in a pool. You have each of them hire hype men. Nobody knows who's going to play on each team. Nobody knows. You can have bets on who's going to be picked. Maybe you actually will do this on Saturday night. But you have the live choosing of the teams at All-Star Weekend. I think the NBA blew it a little bit by doing it last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever they did it. I say you do it at the All-Star game, at the All-Star festivities. You throw a little spice into the All-Star game with this format, since they've gone away from the East-West format. Though I think pretty soon we'll be going back to East-West or going to USA versus the world, because just like the NHL tried this format, just like the NFL tried this format, it's a gimmick that eventually dies out. Although the only sport where I think this would possibly add some spice is the NBA. But you got to do it with have the draft live in front of fans, with every player that's in the All-Star game there, so they physically join whatever team they're going to join. That's how you make it extra fun. NHL on Sunday. In a wild back-and-forth game, it was the Penguins downing the Rangers 6-5. The Blues have now won 10 in a row. Binghamton got the shutout, 31 saves as the Blues beat the Wild 4-0. Hey, Corey Schneider is getting used to winning. What do you know? After coming in relief on Friday to end his long winless streak, Schneider got the start and the win again as the Devils beat the Sabres at the Prudential Center 4-1. Very good job. Golf clap. Best thing about Corey Schneider playing good lately is maybe someone that needs a goalie could take him off the Devils' hands and we could do the right thing and have Mackenzie Blackwood playing. Not that I don't like Corey Schneider. Corey Schneider is 33 years old. I look at the Devils as a team that's for the future, a young team. They should be looking for youth. They're not going to make playoffs this year. And what I like to see is I want to see as many of the Devils' youth play as possible. And that includes Mackenzie Blackwood, who I absolutely think is going to be the goalie of the future. I like Mackenzie Blackwood. And I think it's time to see him on the big club and not Corey Schneider. So I just think Corey Schneider's in the way. He had a good game today, though. 34 saves. As the Buffalo Sabres, boy. You know, in December, they were the best. Start of December, they're the best team in the NHL. And now it's back to being those same Buffalo Sabres that have not really made the playoffs in a long time. Flyers continued their resurgence. Carter Hart, another strong game, 37 saves as the Flyers beat the Red Wings 3-1. Panthers doubled up the Canadiens 6-3 on Alexander Barkov's hat trick, while the Ducks beat the Capitals 5-2 with Ryan Miller becoming the winningest United States-born goalie in NHL history. So the Ducks have responded quite well to the coaching change that came last week. Miller had a strong game. It was his 375th career win, moving him past John Van Beesbrook, who basically he's been tied with for over 2 months. He tied John Van Beesbrook's record for most wins for a U.S.-born goalie back in December. That just goes to tell you how rough things have gone for the Ducks over the last 2 months. It was Daytona 500 Day on Sunday. NASCAR is a unique sport in that their most marquee event is the season opening Daytona 500. Now, of course, you have the race for the chase for the race. And then somehow in November, we'll find out who's going to win whatever they call the NASCAR championship these days. You know, I know they had to get rid of the cigarette smoking with tobacco ads, but to me, there was always something grand. The Winston Cup. It sounded like a NASCAR championship. But I just call it the NASCAR season championship now, I guess. It changes title sponsors so rapidly. It was the Sprint Cup, the Nextel Cup, whatever the hell it is now. And it was all Toyota, as Joe Gibbs' racing team finished 1, 2, 3, with Denny Hamlin winning, beating out, which Busch did he beat out? Beating out Kyle Busch. I get Kyle and Kurt Busch confused. And Eric Jones. However, where the race was truly exciting was all the wrecks in the last 20 laps. You had a wreck on the pit crew that took out some of the leaders, including Jimmy Johnson got knocked out in that wreck. You had, and the big wreck was with 21 cars spinning out, causing a red flag at with 9 laps to go, and then you had another multi-car wreck with about a couple laps later. It took I don't think the Daytona 500 took this long to end ever before. With 2 red flags, it took, like the last 10 laps took 40 minutes. And when you consider that's 18 miles, it's almost like driving down Route 21 in Newark going home. Or trying to drive down Martin Luther King Boulevard. Traffic doesn't move. Everyone stops at red lights. And then they wait for the light to turn chartreuse instead of going on green. You're trying to get around double parked cars and... Of course, you could go down 7th Street in Newark, which is always fun. You get to do the 7th Avenue, the 7th Street slalom from all the double parked cars. You have one double parked car on this side, and then 10 feet later, you have another double parked car here, and you have a double parked car here, and you have a double parked car here. I mean, it really is like going down the slalom in the ski slope. Those of you who live in Newark and drive in Newark know exactly what I'm talking about. So Denny Hamlin wins for Joe Gibbs Racing Team. Of course, Joe Gibbs has been dealing with the loss of his eldest son, who had a neurological condition. So I think this was a very good win for the Gibbs Racing Team. I'll try to watch NASCAR somewhat this year. I just don't know what it is. Sometimes I try to get into it. I always watch Daytona 500, but it's hard to stay into it. Especially when the season's so long. Of course, you know the race that really put NASCAR on the map happened 40 years ago on Monday. And I'm talking about the 1979 Daytona 500. With the greatest end of all time. It was the first time flag-to-flag coverage of the Daytona 500 was shown on national TV, and it was Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough going down the final stretch. They were battling back and forth on the final lap. They had a huge lead. The rest of the field was half a lap back. And the two of them smashed into each other, crashed. Richard Petty, who was in third, ends up winning. And then Yarborough, Allison, and his brother Bobby Allison get into an absolute knockdown, drag-out fight on the infield. Just showing what NASCAR is about, and people have been hooked ever since. Check out the full story at Barstool Sports. And of course, it's Sports Encyclopedia, where sports history lives. Before we go, we'll take a look at the 3 stars, and that's Kevin Durant, who was the All-Star Game MVP. Alexander Barkov, who had a hat-trick with an assist, a 4-point day for the Panthers star. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was the best player on the court, as his team built an early 20-point lead, but blew it. Today's sports shout-out goes to Le'Veon Bell, who he did it. He sat out the whole season holding out for the Steelers, and the Steelers are saying, yeah, we're going to make you hold out again. We're going to franchise you again. Oh, that's the Steel City Sherns. And Le'Veon Bell turns 27. Don't forget to check out that story at Sports Encyclopedia for the 1979 Daytona 500, and of course the full story at Barstool Sports. good day.